What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you've been following along, you know we took the Z2H8 Camaro behind me over to the dyno. We made 691 horsepower, but unfortunately we had to cut it short. We found out that we were making all the coolant pressure, and I'm talking 40 something pounds of coolant pressure, which is a big no-no. So we're glad and happy that we didn't break anything else. We did a leak down test and figured out that there was one cylinder that was causing us our problem. So we're gonna go ahead, get right into it, and tear this thing apart. Well, cylinder heads are off, cleaned up the deck surface, cleaned up the pistons a little bit. Looks like we had some moisture in this one, and there's like some spots on that, but they're coming off on the other side. I just gotta continue working at it. But nothing seems abnormal. This is our problem piston right here, or this cylinder, I should say. Nothing looks cracked. I can't tell with my eye, or at least what I can tell from looking at it. Nothing looks cracked or broken or anything like that. So everything looks fine. Passenger side looks great. Again, just a little bit of marks here and there, but they're cleaning up as they go along. But yeah, I'm gonna keep looking, see if I can find anything. But these cylinder heads, I did notice, and I already knew about that, is that right there. Corrosion, right? We got corrosion up here, corrosion right there. So it's only on the water jacket side, and you can kind of see where the head gasket was sitting. So it's sitting above the area of the corrosion, but right here it's kind of going past. So that might have been our culprit while using the LS9 head gaskets. So these are a much larger bore than the 5.3, and obviously these are heads from a 5.3, so maybe that was the problem. But nonetheless, we have new MLS gaskets for a 5.3, so the BTR ones. So we're gonna go ahead and use these guys, because when we built the car, when we built the engine, these did not exist. They did not make small bore 5.3 MLS gaskets. To go along with that, we have some AFR cylinder heads. We have some AFR 210 cylinder heads. They're not the biggest, they're not the baddest, but they were in our budget, so that's why we got them. And the only thing I'm gonna have to do is change the springs on these. These come with a 600 lift spring, and we need more lift than that. So we're gonna take our Cam Motion 660 lift springs out, and our locks, keepers, retainers, all that good stuff. Measure spring height, make sure we're good. And once those are swapped over, swap over a few sensors, and we'll be good to go. So hopefully it fixes the problem. I feel like it was just a combination of the bigger bore LS9 head gaskets and the corrosion that we have on the head. So like I said, we knew about this going into it. We didn't think it was gonna be a problem, but we were obviously wrong. Hopefully that's the problem. I think it is. But all right, guys, we got everything cleaned up, got these studs pulled out, cleaned up, put back in, ready to go. So they're all hand tight per ARP instructions, and our small bore 5.3 BTR gaskets are on. They do not say front or back, but it's pretty obvious. There's only water jackets in the back of the block. There's no water jackets up here, so you don't want to make that mistake. Yeah, other than that, got our cylinder heads out. Like I was saying, these are AFR 210s. Come with 600 lift springs. We got to swap these out for our better, for this application, 660 Cam Motion springs and all retaining hardware and whatnot. But yeah, not much difference that I could tell. I mean, nothing looks crazy on them. They do look really nice, like obviously like a brand new head. There's some casting in here that I would 100% like to pour it out and kind of polish them up. But that takes a lot of time. And I don't necessarily feel like doing that. Would it help? I'm sure it would. Would we make more horsepower? I'm sure we could. But I'm not going to. I'm going to resist trying to do that. Only because it takes a long time. It literally took me 2.5 to 3 days alone. Like 6 to 8 hour days on these heads, porting and polishing. And they seem to work. So I don't think it's the heads. I think the heads are fine. I think it was our gasket issue. But nonetheless, we wanted to be safe. I didn't want to pull the heads just to put them back on and have the same problem. That's why we got these. Possibly going to take these heads and send them out to the machine shop, get them decked one more time, see how much they can take off material wise, see if they clean up anymore, and either keep them, probably keep them, or just sell them or something. Figure it out. Not a big deal. It's not really taking up any space. But yeah, so we'll get the spring swapped in the morning and get these cylinder heads back on the car, put it back together, fire it up, and see what happens. These cylinder heads all swapped out, all the valve springs, spark plugs, all that good stuff. We got our cam motion stuff into the new AFR heads. And I actually just went ahead and put the AFR stuff, the pack 600 lift springs, back into these cylinder heads. So I still think these cylinder heads are okay. I think what we'll have to do is just take some material out of here, possibly weld them. We'll see. I'm not sure how much we're going to go into these, seeming as they are stock 862s, so other than being ported by myself. But overall, I'm pretty happy with these AFR heads. Like I said, they are cast. I wish I could go in there and do that, which I totally could. I just don't want to spend the time to do so. But we'll get the car running. We'll get it done. Hopefully this fixes our problem. I think it was a combination of using the big bore gasket with the small bore cylinder head. So these are meant for small bore 5.3s. And we have our BTR MLS 5.3 gasket, so they should seal it better. Still using our ARP stuff, but yeah, everything should be good. We're gonna go ahead and get them slapped on the car, torque them down, put everything back together and see if it runs. And if it runs, see if we're building any type of coolant pressure. If we are, that means we have a much bigger problem that we don't know. Again, I can't find anything wrong with the block. I can't find anything wrong with the piston. So that's a good thing. But I just don't know, which is unfortunate. So I think it's the cylinder heads. I think it's the LS9 gaskets that we're using. So once we swap all this stuff, obviously we're going to test it, see what it does. Everything buttoned back up, intake manifold is torqued down, heads are torqued, rocker arms, everything that needs a torque is torqued. So I think we're all good. I'm probably gonna do a once over just to make sure everything is on. We still got to put water in it. We don't necessarily have to do it to fire it up, but we will anyway just to be safe. But water lines are tight, all the fuel lines have been tight. I have not turned the pump on yet, so I don't know if there's going to be any leaks or not. But I'm going to go ahead, move the brigade of cars out there, and then go ahead and push this thing out. Let it make some noise, see what happens. Alright guys, ready to fire it up for the first time. Already checked for fuel leaks, no fuel leaks. We got water in it, should be good to go. So, got fuel, got oil, everything's good. Go ahead and hit the starter, see how it sounds, make sure it sounds good. And put some fuel to it and see if it runs. guys, the Z2H8 Camaro is finally fixed. I don't see any problems going on right now. I tried to get into boost a little bit just in the driveway. Saw a couple pounds, didn't see any coolant pressure. So hopefully that's fixed for good. What a long day, but very successful. Really nice that everything kind of worked, fell right into place. So these AFR heads didn't have to change anything. Everything fit exactly where it was supposed to fit. OEM factory finish or fit, and that really made everything nice and easy. So I know there's a couple companies out there that either push the exhaust manifolds out or the deck height is totally different. The push rods don't fit. So same push rods, 7.425 for these heads as well as the factory heads. So very pleased on that. Really didn't have any hiccups. So other than just a long, sweaty, hot day here in Florida. You might have noticed that when the GoPro shuts off, because it just overheats and shuts off. So it's hot here. But you heard it run. Runs great still. Now we can take it back to the dyno, have Nate, Dr.TunEmAll, play with the magic keyboard of his, and actually make some more, better, decent power, right? Like I said, we had to cut it short, 13.5 pounds. Probably going to try to push 25 out of this thing, if the turbo will keep it up. I don't know if the turbo will keep up, but we're going to max it out. We're going to see what it makes. Hopefully close to 900, if not more. I'd be very pleased with that. Honestly, even just a successful dyno run with no problems, I'll be pleased with that too. So I feel like it's all a part of it. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you learned something. Don't use the big bore gaskets on the small bore heads. Even if you have perfect heads, I probably would just never do it anymore. There's so much aftermarket now that you can get small bore 5.3 MLS gaskets for turbo applications and whatnot. So just go with that. Don't even bother. And yeah, like I said, guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. Hope you learned something. Make sure to follow the channel. Make sure to drop a like and a comment. And we'll see you in the next video.